The drum is the world's oldest instrument. Drummers can use their kit to lay down the backbeat and help the rest of the band keep time, or they can use it in solos just like a guitar. In this episode of Prisoners of Rock and Roll, we're taking a look at the best drummers in music history. We're going to start with the big band drummers, Gene Krupa and Buddy Rich, who put the spotlight on their instruments and paved the way for modern drummers for generations. Then we're covering the legends like Bonzo and Keith Moon, Charlie Watts and Ginger Baker, Ringo and Rick Allen, all the way up to the modern drummers like Questlove and Meg White. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Prisoners of Rock and Roll, episode number 45. I'm Bruce Kramer, and I'm so happy to be here with all of you because, one, you guys are all awesome, and two, I get to talk music with the next 2 hours with my good friend and co-host, Ryan McCusker.
Are you rocking?
Hear the drummer get wicked!
Yes, sir.
Prisoners of Rock and Roll is sponsored by McCusker's Tavern at 17th and Shunk Streets in Philadelphia, and we are part of the Pantheon Podcast Network. So what's up, man? How you been?
I'm good, man. I've been looking forward to this episode all week.
Yeah, this is another one that's been on the list for a while, and we were kind of, I was on vacation again last week. I was in Tennessee, and we were texting each other and like, hey man, what do we want to do next? And we got a really friggin' long list of show topics, man. we're gonna be around for a while. So.
Totally.
So.
Yeah, we keep on putting the list together.
Yeah, it gets longer and longer, and when you shared the whole list with me the other day, I was like, oh man, there's some like I want to talk about that, and I'm excited to do that and do like. But we decided, like, hey man, let's talk about drummers. And, I thought this would be a good topic because, one, I think we talk about, we know a lot of this music, and two, you're a drummer. So.
I am. I've been playing since 1992. I love the drums. It's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, I know you've been in a bunch of bands. I mean, shit, I remember seeing you play.
So many bands.
Yeah, I remember seeing you play.
Too many bands
like in
that
the
I
90s.
can count, man.
Yeah.
And I'm still playing.
So why'd you pick the drums?
We talked past on the show how it was hard for me to learn things.
Yeah.
Guitar was just a little bit too hard. Bass was a little bit too hard to do, but, I would watch MTV and I could see these drummers play. Like Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses, all these big drummers, Lars Ulrich, And I remember watching it and saying, I can do that.
Very cool.
And I got a drum set for Christmas, and
off you went.
And off I went.
Very cool.
I just sat down and start playing.
So you never took lessons? You just kind of like self-taught?
Well, I took, high school, you took basic music
and stuff,
yeah,
right.
But everything I had self-taught. Rock and roll has to be self-taught.
Yeah.
You can't learn rock and roll through a school or anything like that.
Yeah. Very cool. And I'm not a musician. I own a couple guitars. I might as well be a monkey banging on them. But, it's interesting. Like, just as we're getting ready for this episode, I was thinking about shows I've seen in concerts, and when they let the drummer really go off and do like the solo, and it's like the crowd goes crazy. Every time. I remember bands like in my high school would play, and the drummer would play a solo, and the place went. No, actually, the band I saw in high school, the drummer wound up being the bass player for 30 Seconds to Mars.
Oh wow,
with Jared Leto's band. Yep. So it was like, guy was a really talented musician. But I remember being in high school and seeing him when he would do a drum solo. The gym would go bonkers.
Yeah, I was in the marching band, and we did a lot of percussion work in the marching band, and it was the time of my life, but it was also very hard.
Yeah.
To play synchronized with a whole
other
band,
people, right. And it's, I mean, I guess the more I was thinking about it too, it's like, there's so many different, I get like any other instrument, right? There's going to be a wide variety of, styles. There's musicians that their job is like, they're not flashy. They're the time, like Charlie Watts.
Yeah.
Right.
Charlie Watts has one job, and it's 4 on the floor.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then you got somebody like some of these early, like Buddy Rich or John Bonham or some of those other guys that are really in front. Alex Van Halen can be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
And then there's some guys that we're going to talk about too that are like, drummers who are also the leaders of their band, which is like, there's not a whole lot of them, right? I
know, not that I can think of. I mean, drummers tried. Ginger Baker thought he was in charge of Cream.
Yeah.
You know?
The only ones I thought of Phil Collins.
Yeah, Phil
and
Collins.
Don Henley with the Eagles.
Right on.
And those were, I mean, even Phil Collins is like, he kind of came out from behind the drum set.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, he was Genesis' original
drummer. Right.
And then once Peter Gabriel left,
he took over
the vocals.
Yeah.
And they got more popular.
Yeah.
Second time around.
Yeah. I could do to never hear another Phil Collins song the rest of my life.
He's kind of done.
Yeah.
His whole catalog is worn on me.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had enough of him, and I guess in the 80s, man, he was like everywhere.
He was everywhere.
So.
And even in the 90s, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Cool. All right, man, let's dive in, man. Let's start talking about some of these bands. So the first group I had in here were like, I put the OGs and the originals, and I guess there was like there was like big band music that was a big thing, and those guys all had drummers, and there was 3 of them that really came out to me as like flashy, and those were Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, and Max Roach.
They're all amazing drummers.
Yeah. I knew Gene Krupa. I took you had to take like a music class in college, and I took one on like whatever, music appreciation or something. I listened to a lot of jazz, and I knew Gene Krupa. Buddy Rich I didn't know a whole lot about. I actually started doing my research by looking up, Rolling Stone had one of those 100 greatest drummers of all time, and he was like number 2.
Yeah.
So I went down the rabbit hole, was looking at all this YouTube stuff, and I was like, damn, he's like, I couldn't keep up watching his hands. He was moving so fast.
He was unbelievable. I guess there was a competition between the both of them.
Yeah.
And maybe Max Roach in there. Maybe they were all like, I'm the best drummer. I know Buddy Rich thought he was the best drummer.
Yeah, Buddy Rich and Gene Krupa did like some albums, and you can find some like drum battles on YouTube with the 2 of them, and you're just like, whoa, man. It's like you're waiting for the smoke to come off the kit. They're playing so fast.
It's unreal.
Really cool, man.
Yeah.
Dude, you put Nutville by Buddy Rich on here. So I'll play a little bit of that. Really cool, man.
That sounds great. I'm sure if we go further in the recording, there'll be like some kind of drum solo in there.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
No, but dude, he was the man. First time I ever saw Buddy Rich was on the Muppet Show.
Really?
And he had a drum off against Animal.
Really?
Yes.
I had to have seen that as a kid.
It's hysterical.
I mean, the music of the Muppets has been on our topic list for a while too, man.
That would be a good show.
I did. I just watched the episode with Debbie Harry a couple weekends ago, and it's funny. My daughter logged into like Disney Plus. She's like, "Were you watching the Muppet show?" I was like, "You goddamn right, I did."
You had Luke Skywalker on
yes.
there. You had
Johnny Cash was on there.
Johnny Cash was on it. Yeah.
Alice Cooper. The Alice Cooper episode scared the shit out of me as a kid.
When all those ghosts were flying.
Yeah.
All the Muppets ghosts.
All the monsters and stuff.
But, watching Animal, my young life.
Sure.
I was like, I want to play the drums.
Very cool.
We
should have put Animal on here. That would have been good. And then Gene Krupa, man. So he did, they said like the recording he did on there's a drum solo on Sing, Sing, Sing with a Swing, Benny Goodman, that they said is like, that's like the first drum solo they ever recorded. Huh. So I should have listened to the whole thing and I should have put it, I should have found it in the song. But you had a Big Noise from Winneteca.
I put Sing, Sing, Sing on there.
Oh, did you? Okay. All right.
His version of it.
All right, cool. Here you go. I love it. I love it.
I heard that as a kid, and something else that made me want to play the drums was that song. It was in a bunch of movies.
Oh, yeah.
It was
like
on TV all the time.
Yeah.
Totally wanted me to play the drums.
Yeah. Really, really cool. And then the third guy we had in this list, like Max Roach, I mean, he recorded with every jazz, Miles and Duke Ellington and Thelonious Monk. Just the three of those guys just really kind of set the stage for everything. You know what, too, man? Every picture you look at, like Buddy Rich, he's got like two women on his arm. And
Buddy Rich was kind of a jerk.
Was he?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about his personal life.
He was a jerk. I don't know if he's shitbag of the week. I don't think he's that bad.
Right.
But he was definitely a pompous dude.
Was he?
Yeah. He was famous for being a jerk to his band, to the crew, to anybody, anybody.
Yeah.
He was Buddy Rich. He was the Elvis of drums.
But
Like, you ever see like the pictures of him with the diamond rings on and the big medallions and shit like that?
And a lot of he just influenced pretty much everybody else on this list. Like, they all, know who he was and were like, holy crap.
If you're a drummer, you should definitely start out with Buddy Rich and Gene Krupa.
Yeah.
And Max Roach.
I think these guys were like the first, they were the first like American drummers that these guys like over in England ever saw.
No,
right?
The drum solo is an American thing.
Yeah.
Like, we invented it.
Sure.
I think each culture has its own version of the drum, or how they use the rhythm in Celtic.
Right, sure.
In Africa, in America, the Native Americans, every little community of history had some kind of drum or drum circle.
Sure.
Or it's even how they would communicate to each other.
Right. Yeah, it's a good point. Like I said in the monologue, it's the oldest instrument in the world because you just pick up something and bang on it, right? It's pretty easy. And of course we're talking about rock and roll. It's a good point. We could have talked about Native American music and all this other, some of that like African stuff, like
that's just crazy.
Afro Celtic sound system and all kinds of other stuff. It's all really, really cool stuff.
We could definitely wake up the neighbors.
Yeah, right. I had a box set in college called like This Is the Drum or Bang a Drum. It was like a 5-disc set of all like world music, different drum solos, and it was. I don't think I ever listened to it.
Probably got annoying after a while.
Yeah, I bought it and I was like, this seems cool, and I don't think I ever made it through the whole thing. But it looked good on my shelf. It made me look like an intellectual.
I remember when we worked at the record store, there was always a bunch of in world music.
Yeah,
there was always African drumming, and like I said, maybe like even something that's Japanese.
Yeah,
the drum is the most common.
Sure, I like the
the first beat in the world was your heartbeat.
Right. Like the Jamaica, they get the steel drums. Right.
That's that's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah,
that's like little notes. You're hitting like notes.
Like where on the drum you hit, right?
That's wild.
Yeah, it's all over my head, but it's all right. All right, man. And then we can just start moving into the next category I had were like the classic rock drummers, and these are like the big names. And I thought maybe the guy we should start with was Bonzo.
Yes.
John Bonham. I watched some really cool YouTube videos. They got like incredibly nerd. I'll have to share it on our social media page of just like what made him so good. And they were saying like how he would, and they were playing like a part of Kashmir, and they would have the notes from like the guitar on the top and then his below it, and they're like how he would follow the guitar with his notes. He wasn't just kind of like keeping time. He was like, they're like he's dancing around the guitar.
Well, that's the whole thing. Playing the drums is like a dance.
Yeah,
like it's dancing around. You're dancing.
Yeah, and a lot of the talk about him too was they were saying, like he had like power and he was also very fast. He had a lot of dexterity in his hands.
Oh, he was amazing.
Sometimes they'll say like drummers will have one or the other, and he had both.
He had both. He would use traditional grip, which is just the old time grip hand you see. Mm-hmm. Not this rock and roll holding.
Right.
Charlie Watts always plays traditional.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've noticed that.
That is like the correct way to play the drums. Yeah. He's one of my favorite English drummers. I don't have many.
Charlie
Watts. I think Charlie's just my favorite drummer of all time.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I liked Charlie. I like the dichotomy of him being like the straight man out of the Stones. You told that story before, him punching Mick Jagger at 3 a.m. in the bar, putting the suit on. Just really, really good stuff. But man, I don't even know if we played a Zeppelin song yet on our show. Like in the 45 episodes we've done, I can't remember.
I don't think maybe a Led Zeppelin show would be cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, it would be awesome. It'd be great. What do you want to hear, man? You got a couple songs from Zeppelin on here.
Why don't we hear the banging drum
from
the levee breaks?
When the levee breaks. All right, here you go. That song's 7 minutes. 7 minutes long. I could listen to the whole thing.
Yeah,
it's just great.
I think that song shows you the power that dude had.
Yeah,
John Bonham was 19 when he joined Led Zeppelin. And they asked him how did he get so strong and like that. He used to chop trees down. He was a lumberjack, and like that worked up his muscles. And
he also, I mean, he's always widely regarded as like the greatest drummer in rock and roll. And I mean, part of it is probably, I mean, he's talented, don't get me wrong, but also like the legend that he drank himself to death and he died at such a, like, I looked up, like, they said he had 40 shots of vodka in 24 hours.
Wow.
Like, I was like, well, no shit, he died.
He was definitely a party.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was in rock and roll back then. It was a different world.
Yeah.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll was a big thing.
Right.
And
right.
now it's like drugs and rock and roll's dead.
Right. Well, the warden almost got thrown out of the bar one night on his birthday, and he had like 2 shots. Bonzo had 40 in 24 hours. So maybe the warden's next birthday we'll have to get him up to Bonzo levels. So,
totally.
Yeah. A whole episode on Zeppelin would be interesting, man.
He just had so much power playing the drums. His drumsticks were as big as like tree trunks, man.
I heard that too. That he used really, really heavy, really thick drumsticks.
And you could hear like the echoing on his bass drum through that.
Yeah.
That's Bonham right there. That's the power.
Yeah.
In the pocket. But his drum set was so awesome. He had like these see-through drums, like these orange glass see-through drums. And he had, let's say, 8 pieces of it, drums, and then maybe like 10 cymbals. And then he had timpanis, like on the side.
Okay.
And he used them all. And he had a gong in the back.
So when you said in the pocket, what does that mean?
To me, it means bring it all together.
Okay.
Like, I play in the pocket all the time, so the guys who play guitar, guys who play bass, so they can get off.
Okay.
So I'm the tightrope. I'm keeping it straight.
Okay.
Right for them. I used the same beat for about 10 minutes at one time because my guitar player is just going off.
Okay.
And I don't want to like ruin his solo.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
Playing the drums is you got to have a lot of restraint. Play concentration. You can't overplay. It's really easy to overplay. It's Bonzo played rock and roll.
Right.
He was part of band. It wasn't like he outshined the band by his drumming. I think that whole band outshined themselves. I mean, look at all those guys in that band. Yeah,
right. I mean, it's hard to say. I'm trying to think of what my point here is. Like Jimmy Page is like, right? He's everywhere with the guitar.
Jimmy Page.
Yeah, and then you can get and Robert Plant had that high, hitting those notes, and then like John Bonham was doing his own thing too. Like they started like a new form of
heavier rock and roll.
Yeah, yes.
You know?
And I think they get written off a lot now because they did rip off so many artists, but it was like,
you know, they didn't know they were going to be that big.
right.
They, you know, I don't know how you could just take somebody else's music and rearrange it and call
Right.
it your own.
I think, you know, I guess at the time, I mean, now it's like you can access anything on the
Yeah.
internet and do your research and find stuff. Maybe they just thought nobody would ever figure it out. And it does seem, you know, in 2022, it seems rather shitty that the music they stole was all largely from African Americans.
Totally.
Yeah, it just, it definitely gave them a bad rap. We talked about that in another episode too, about them, that they get kind of crapped on. But, I mean, they were just, you know, John Paul Jones too.
John Paul Jones.
Not to write him off either.
Dude, they were like the Fantastic Four.
Right.
They each had this amazing skill. Then they all put it together and it became like Voltron.
Yeah. I didn't want to write them off. That's you know, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant have done that enough over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Just ignoring him. But yeah, man. And that's a band that, you know, like, I mean, his kid, Bonham's kid is really talented.
Jason's the man.
Yeah.
He's been in rock and roll for about 40 years. Like, he's been a steady drummer.
He had a couple
for a lot
of those. He had a couple like minor hits in the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, he's more, I think, known as a session guy.
Yeah.
Than being in a band. I saw him with Sammy Hagar, and he was friggin' great.
Yeah.
They did a few Zeppelin songs. Sammy Hagar belted it out, and he really did a great imitation of his father.
Hearing that, man, I could see Hagar doing the Zeppelin. He's got that
Yeah.
voice that he could do it.
Yeah,
you know?
like no problem.
Yeah, he's got more than Jimmy Page. Page can't hit those notes anymore. Which is like, well, I don't think they're never going to tour again because he can't do it.
Robert Plant is just, he knows he can't do it. He doesn't want to go out there.
Robert Plant. I'm sorry, I kept calling him Jimmy Page. Yeah,
He doesn't
knows
want to
can't.
go out and embarrass himself.
Yeah,
I love what he's doing with Alison Krauss.
I like some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little too slow for me, but it's still cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's another act that like they come around every summer, and I'm like, I should probably go to this one year before he gets too old to do it, but I don't.
What do you think of when you hear the word drums?
John Bonham is probably, you know what, John Bonham or Keith Moon
Yeah.
are probably the guys, and it's almost like I think of
Two original guys.
yeah, but they're also very self-destructive people, right? I think
their
of
drummers are very self-destructive.
I think
people,
like Animal from the Muppet Show,
It's-
right? It's like the same.
he was made after Bonzo.
Was he?
Yeah,
I
he was
figured it was
designed
one of the
after
two
him.
of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's what I think of the most. Yeah. You know, I guess there's all, you know, even as we're putting together this whole list, and a lot of them, like, I just came up with names off the top of my head and just how different that they were. Yeah, and I was like, you know, like, you just sit down and you're like, we're going to talk about Stuart Copeland later. And I was like, oh, yeah, he's a really good drummer. He's completely different than any of these other guys. Or, you know,
See, the
Lars
thing-
Ulrich and Tommy Lee.
Yeah.
Or, all these guys.
See, a lot of those guys play one way, but Bonzo played it all.
Yeah.
He could play like a straight rock and roll song, or he could play some kind of reggae beat and make it a rock and roll
Yeah.
song. He's very creative.
Maybe if we keep rolling too, the next guy I had on here was another dude that died tragically very early. That was Keith Moon.
Moon the Loon.
Yeah, from the Who. That's another band, dude. I love the Who.
He was a goddamn maniac,
Yeah.
man. He like invented trashing hotel rooms.
Yeah.
He would throw TVs out the window. There was pictures that he would drive his car into his pool.
Yeah.
The car would be at the bottom of the pool.
Yeah.
He'd be dressed up in drag. Like, he was just a character. I'll never get like the English with their humor with lingerie.
Right.
But he always had this cross-dressing thing going on for him. I don't know.
Yeah, and he the story here that Keith Moon one time passed out on stage in a
Guy came up and played
fan came out and played drums
Dude,
with him.
I wish that was me. Like, holy shit, that would be like my dream come true.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Keith Moon took a handful of horse tranquilizers, and he was going, and then all of a sudden he blacked out behind the drums. There's
Yeah.
footage of it.
Yeah.
He just looked like he's dead.
Passed out sitting at his drum kit.
And they're like, "Can anyone play the drums?"
Yeah.
And this one cat gets up there. They make it happen for about 1 or 2 songs, and
19-year-old Scott Haplin came up and he had scalped tickets that day to the event because he wanted to see Keith Moon, and wound up playing drums with him.
How amazing! That rock and roll doesn't do that anymore.
No.
Rock and roll is not dangerous like that anymore. To like let an unknown up here with superstars.
They're really cool. Oh, look at that, man. Oh, yeah, there is video of it. Huh.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man, that'll be something else I'll have to... Looks like he passed out literally while he was playing the drums.
Literally.
And then, All right, cool. I'll copy that and I'll put it in my notes and I'll make sure I share that as well. That's funny, man. Yeah, dude, let's play some Who, man.
Go for it.
Won't Get Fooled Again.
Great.
That's another band. I need to go back and listen to that stuff with the headphones on.
Yeah.
Like, just all their stuff, man.
Keith Moon, he totally... When Keith Moon played, his rhythm was whatever Daltrey's rhythm of his songs go. So in that Don't Get Fooled Again, when he's singing the lyrics, you can hear the drums almost repeating what he's saying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point.
Great song. It's overplayed and everything. It does have a great drum intro in there. Our listeners want to hear more of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Go watch CSI or whatever.
Right.
They play the shit out of that song, don't they?
Yeah. Cool. The next dude I had on the list is somebody I never really got into Cream that much.
Yeah.
With Ginger Baker.
He's my least favorite drummer of all time.
Oh, really?
Yes, he is.
He did a lot with he did a lot of African music influence, and he recorded a lot with Fela Kuti, the dude we talked about from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
But he's a fucking maniac, dude.
Yeah.
There's a documentary called Beware of Mr. Baker, and it just goes through documentary about him being a maniac most of his life. And there's like interviews with Clapton being in. He's like, I was scared to break up Kareem because I was afraid that I would get the shit beat out.
Jack
of
Bruce
him.
was like that too. Like they were all kind of not nice people. And Clapton is kind of a turd too. Ginger Baker. Yeah, man. And I've read a lot that he influenced a lot of like heavy metal drummers.
Yeah,
like,
I could totally see all that. He's definitely double bass pedal.
Yeah.
He had a lot of rhythms on the paradiddles and triplets and all these rhythms. He was great. I never liked them. I never liked the sound of his snare drum or his drums.
Yeah, and I like a lot of Clapton stuff. I don't know why I just never got.
I don't like Cream. I don't like Cream. It's a 3-piece band, and it works, and everybody bows down to the band Cream,
right? I don't even really know why. I mean, I like Sunshine of Your Love. You have that on the playlist.
I fucking hate that song.
Really?
I had to play it in my band 3 times a week, man.
Here you go. Here's 30 seconds of it.
Nice.
Tired eyes. I'll soon be with you, my love. Give you my dawn surprise. I'll be with you, darling, soon. I'll be with you when the stars start falling.
Excuse me. I mean, it's definitely like an early, like heavy song.
Definitely,
right?
he was out of his mind.
You can hear the influence that it had on other stuff.
He was totally batshit crazy, like paperwork. Like he has paperwork. They were so scared of him. The band Blind Faith, going back now, I figured it out. Blind Faith, they had another drummer. So what happened was he shows up, Ginger Baker shows up, and nobody wants to tell him he's not in the band because they're all scared of him. Like, he was a maniac.
Yeah, I always heard that he was just real, had just like a mean streak to him.
I think we can give him Shitbag of the Week.
Shitbag of the Week? All right, hang on. Shitbag of the Week.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I never really got that much into Blind Faith either. I mean, I love Steve Winwood. I don't know.
I played a lot of Cream songs just because of the bands that I played in.
Yeah.
But it never, every time I had to play Sunshine of Your Love, I'd be, fuck. It was not a fun thing for me. I don't like Ginger Baker because he overplays.
Okay.
Like, to be in a 3-piece band, Bruce, you have to be solid.
Right.
You have to fill a lot of holes. And he does, and the bass holds a lot of holes. I just don't like the tone of his drums. I don't like anything about him.
Yeah.
I think the band is lame. Like, I'm not a Clapton guy. I can appreciate him.
Right. Yeah, I like some Clapton stuff. There's some stuff I could do without.
Oh, he's great. He is God.
Yeah.
Fucking right he is. But he never,
Yeah. All right. It's just,
No, you ever see that?
Yeah,
that
the graffiti. Yeah,
Yeah.
Clapton is God. Yeah. I don't know, man. I just,
Yeah, Cream.
that's a great thing in music, right? You like what you like, and there's just shit's just not for everybody. And and a lot of like 3-piece bands, like I mean, they certainly have a huge sound for a 3-piece band, but they're not. I don't know, man. They're not like ZZ Top always seems like really tight. You know, Rush is really tight. These guys just don't. I don't know. There's something missing. I don't know.
That I feel like has no bottom.
Yeah.
Like there's that's how I feel.
Yeah. All right.
I don't like Ginger Baker. He sucks.
Yeah.
I try to be positive on the show, but this is my chance.
Yeah, hey, it's our show, man. We'll crap on who we want to.
He's a shitbag.
Right, we'll get some Cream fans gonna write us in and blow us up. So
that's all right.
Our old boss at Sam Goody was really, really into Cream. So,
man, no wonder she got fired.
So maybe all right. So let's just keep talking about 3-piece bands, dude, and then and Rush. And Neil Peart.
Neil Peart is one amazing drummer.
Yeah, probably the most...
A different kind of drummer than I am, and I always admired his playing, but it never influenced me at all. But, God, his drumming is unbelievable. He's like a clock has gears and sprockets and shit. He's like a machine.
And almost everybody says that about him, that he's like the most technically polished drummer in music history.
He's unreal, dude. Or he was.
Yeah.
He was the best drummer ever. I seen him in concert. It was amazing.
Yeah. And we did a whole episode on Rush because we didn't like them, and we approached it with an open mind and listened to them. And I think I have a little bit more respect for them than I did before we did that episode. But I still don't sit down and listen to them that much. I listen to them a little bit more than I did in the past. But
I got 2112 on vinyl. I do listen to it, but I'm not a Rush fan.
Yeah,
I don't get it. Maybe I don't like Dungeons and Dragons enough to get it, but I have to give it up to Neil Peart.
Yeah,
there's a little drum solo that he does on the list there.
Yeah,
it's called the Rhythm Method.
The Rhythm Method. Here you go. It's 4 minutes and 37 seconds long.
I'm not a drum solo guy. I don't like playing drum solos, and I don't like to hear them. But Neil Peart, to see a drum solo by him was memorable for the rest of my life. I always thought the band sucked, but I knew that he was great. I knew that he was great. I know they're all great. They're great musicians. I know that.
Yeah, it just wasn't our cup of tea.
Not my thing. But was a very smart dude, Neil Peart. He was very intelligent.
He wrote most of that music.
All the
those
words,
songs, and
some of his lyrics and words that he used, and they're like, what the fuck does that mean? So I think he was the whole. I can't say he was the whole thing of Rush because Geddy Lee and the other dude, Alex,
right?
They were such big parts of the band, but him. You can't replace him.
Yeah, when he died, I mean, that was like everybody was pretty much the same thing. Like, whether you like him or not, they were like, he is just on another level as a musician.
He was just a very quiet guy.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of tragedies happen to him. It may put him into a further deep in depression. He would stop playing drums and go on his bike and take off, goes cross country. Bring a book with him, bring a credit card, and just take off. Yeah. I saw an interview with him, and he said, I went cross country on my motorcycle, and not one person recognized me the whole time.
Good for him, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of rock star you want to be.
Right.
That you can, like, totally fit in somewhere, and nobody knows who you are.
Right. Famous on the stage, but off of it, live your personal life.
Yeah.
Rush, and the guys in Rush seem like kind of like regular dudes to a degree.
Yeah.
Like
I don't think they're gonna get back together with another drummer.
I couldn't imagine
they're supposed to play that. I'm sure we'll talk about Taylor Hawkins. They're playing the Taylor Hawkins memorial concert. Coming up.
I'd forgotten Taylor Hawkins. I'm going to put him on the list to talk about when we talk about the modern drummers. How could I forget Taylor Hawkins? Yeah, man. All right, let me just keep rolling. So, who else I got on here? Charlie Watts, man. We got Charlie Watts. So,
the drummer's drummer.
Yes,
he was the best, man.
The gentleman of the Stones. Yeah, I agree, man. I love Charlie Watts.
I put on Facebook when he died. Oh, the greatest drummer in the world died, and everybody's like, this person. How about Buddy Rich? How about this? I'm like, Buddy Rich didn't come up with the backbeat of Satisfaction, man.
Right.
That backbeat of Satisfaction is the beginning of a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We did whatever the episode we did on Exile on Main Street was, was all dedicated to Charlie Watts.
I love the sound of his drums. He doesn't overplay. He's right in the pocket. Right. I admire that. He holds back because of what the song needs. I always did that myself. I hold back. I think to be a good drummer, you have to hold back.
Yeah, he's like the undercurrent of all those other guys. And the band is, they need him, right? He's such a huge part of that.
Well, I saw him without Charlie last fall, and it was great, but it wasn't the same because
sure.
You could say, oh, any drummer can refill. No, it was Charlie Watts. Let's just talk about his drum set. It's this classic mint condition jazz, probably 1950 something drum set, snare drum. There's no flashes to it. There's nothing.
Yeah, he's not like Neil Peart has like 360 degrees of like stuff all around him, or Carter Buford from Dave Matthews has got all this stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
And he did not. He had a very simple drum kit.
I admire that. That's what I do. That he's very inventive with the Rolling Stones. Like, look what he did with Symphony of the Devil.
Yeah.
I think that's like him coming out and say, hey, I'm somebody too. Like, okay, it's all about Keith and it's all about Mick.
Right.
It's like, here's my time to shine.
Right. You put that on a playlist, man. Let's play. We could play this song every single episode. I don't even care what the episode is about, and we could do this. It's one of my favorite Stone songs.
Myself, I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around
Man, you know what, dude? I know I say this so many times on the show. It's like, if you are into music, go get yourself a decent set of headphones and just sit down.
We say that every week.
And it's just like, man, there's so much going on. And it's like, I've heard that song a zillion times. I still play it around my house all the time, and it's just a different experience, man. And I have like a big like reclining chair in my office at home, and that I bought just for like reading and listening to music. I really need to sit down more and just put the headphones on and just chill out and just listen to some of this stuff.
I don't think people listen to music like they used to. I think people listen to music now is to get to point A to point B.
Yeah, it's in the background of something.
Yeah, you always see people with earpods in, but they're not real headphones.
Right.
Like those Bose things. Those things, or what's Dr. Dre Beats?
Yeah, Beats by Dre.
Those things are friggin' amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I mean, I always have like my, the Samsung ones that came with my cell phone that I'm always listening to stuff, or I'm listening to like, my phone is, I'm outside doing something and I've got my phone just next to me and I'm listening to music. It's like, you're not getting any quality of sound out of that.
I have it on vinyl. And if you hear it on vinyl, it's like unbelievable. That's the way it's supposed to be sound. The Charlie Watts played for what the song needed. He didn't overplay.
Yeah.
He was just he played for the band.
Yeah.
I'm
laughing as I'm thinking about the that Zoom thing that they did, and he was playing like a bucket.
Yeah.
Like upside down.
He had his personality was pretty great.
Yeah.
He was so like somber.
Yeah. He's very British. He's incredibly British. Yes, he's very English.
Maybe people didn't hear the story, but I'm going to tell it again.
Yeah, sure, dude. It's a great story.
One night in the 70s, Mick Jagger's in the hotel. He's downstairs at the bar. He's drinking. He's getting it on. He's screaming and hollering, being Mick Jagger. And Mick starts screaming, "Get my drummer down here. Get my drummer down here to get me a drink." You get, Charlie gets the message. He's like, "All right, I'm up in my room. I'll be down." He gets all dressed up, 3-piece suit, shoes, the whole thing. He might have had a monocle in his eye, So what he does, he goes downstairs with Mick Jagger, and Mick Jagger's like, "Oh, my drummer's here,"
right.
And
Charlie
just fucking socks him in the face. Says, "I am the drummer of the Rolling Stones."
All right, I'm not your drummer.
Yeah,
I love it. It's one of my favorite rock and roll stories.
Yeah, but that just shows you. I thought they would be done when Charlie died, but I guess there's still money to be made.
Yeah, I were kind of like out on the road when that happened, right? Because he decided he wasn't going with them because he was ill.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're ever going to see him again. Although I said that the last tour that they've been on their farewell tour for the 80s.
I've been saying this is going to be the last time for the last 20 years.
Right. The steel wheelchair tour.
The steel wheelchair
in the 80s. So they're still around, man.
But I'm sad that Charlie passed away. It was really hard.
Yeah.
But I saw the new drummer with the Stones, and it sounds like a cover band playing with the drummer. Now with Charlie, all his drums were like, let's talk about his cymbals. I don't know where he got those cymbals from, but those sounding of his cymbals add to the Rolling Stones sound. The other drummer that took his place uses his different cymbals. So it sounded totally
just different sound.
It sounded more of, with that drummer, it sounded more nostalgic. Like I was in a museum, a living museum with Mick and Keith.
Yeah.
Yeah, walking the hallways of rock and roll with Mick and Keith.
All right, cool. I talk about, he's the heartbeat of the greatest rock and roll band of all time.
He's, like I said, he's the greatest rock and roll drummer of all time.
I agree, man.
And if you got, if you think I'm wrong, write in.
Write us in. We'd love to hear from you. And then, so the first, what was it, episode 3, we did like the Beatles versus the Stones.
Wow.
That was a long time ago. And we were playing music on the show at that time. That episode was like 2.5 hours long. It would have been like 17 hours long. But, so we always go back and forth, the Beatles versus the Stones. So it's probably appropriate that you talk about the drummer for the Beatles. And Ringo. John Lennon said that Ringo's not even the best drummer in the Beatles, let alone the best.
Ringo did what he did.
He was the right drummer for that band. Right.
Pete Best was the original drummer of the Beatles. He put in a lot of work with those guys. Once they got a record contract. Brian Epstein said, "You got to get rid
You
of
got
this
to get
guy
rid of this guy.
because he doesn't go with you guys. He's better looking than all he is, and he should be in the background." You know, he said, "Yes, Pete Best is a better drummer, but Ringo is a great Beatle."
Yeah. No, that's okay. That's
Yeah.
fair. I don't think we have a Beatles song on the playlist, did we? No.
I didn't put anything on there.
No. All right. Whatever. We don't need to play something from everybody, and
I feel
everybody
like it's
knows.
sacrilegious that we don't play anything.
All right. Let's hang on.
Play "Come Together." That has a great.
Oh
drum.
yeah, that's a good one.
I think it's Paul playing drums on it, but hey, what do I know?
Is it? Does he play? Hang on.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
Some other songs he definitely did.
Yeah. All right. Here you go.
Here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly. Got juju eyeball, he one holy roller. He got hair down to his knee. Got to be a joker, he just do what he please.
The thing with Ringo is he knew he was the luckiest bastard in the whole
Oh yeah,
world.
absolutely.
He I felt ass backwards into a perfect situation. Right off the bat, he started making money with them, and they became the Beatles.
Right. Sure.
I mean, Ringo, I love Ringo's drumming. Nothing compares to his drumming like on those records. Again, the sound of his cymbals. I love the sound of that. It doesn't sound like everybody else's cymbals.
Yeah. And they're just, the four of them together obviously worked. They're one of the biggest bands in the history of the world. So,
Oh, it's still to this day.
yeah, sure.
I saw Ringo Starr a few years ago at the Tower Theater. I took
with the All-Star.
with the All-Star Band. I took my father. I said, "Well, we got to see the Beatle, so we'll go see the Beatle."
Yeah.
And it was fun. Everybody was bringing their kids up to front of the stage, and Ringo would be like, "Peace, love,
Right.
peace, love,
Peace and love. Peace and love.
But I'm glad I went and saw him. He had a great backup band.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's coming to the Met in a few weeks.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's, he's in his 80s,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, just like
He has
McCartney.
he gets up there, there's a drum set, but then he has another drummer that's playing along with him.
Right.
So they'll be playing some song, and Ringo's just tapping the cymbals while the real drummer's keeping the beat.
Doing the stuff. Right.
But, God, he's got to be 80 now.
Yeah. I'm sure hang on. I'll look up how old he is.
78.
He's 82. So, yeah, so he's
damn.
older than McCartney. And,
Still out there on the road.
Yeah, he's still,
He doesn't need to be.
No, he's in it. He's doing it because he can, right? He likes
People
the
wanna go
music.
see
So,
him.
yeah, sure.
Ringo, was so happy when I seen him. And that's what everybody loves about him, is him being happy.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think his drumming is happy kind of shit. Like, I want to hold your hand. Nothing's more fun than that drum
Yeah.
beat.
What else, man? We got a whole list of stuff. We've been talking about an hour, but I think we're doing all right, man, with the pace here. But Roger Taylor, dude, from Queen. This was a good one, dude. I hadn't thought of him.
Yeah.
And you put him on the list, and I was like, damn, you're
Dude,
right, man.
he's an unbelievable drummer.
And he just gets overlooked. Yeah, Freddie and Brian May were just amazing
Totally.
musicians
And
singers.
he was a big part of the band. He did
Yeah.
a lot of background vocals. The drumming of all the Queen songs were very unique. There's very different things going on. He would play something from an opera drum to a rock and roll, almost metal drum beat. I think, you ever hear the song Stone Cold Crazy?
Oh my God, yeah.
Let's play a hit of that.
Yeah, dude, here you go.
There's a rumor going round, got a clear out of town, yeah, it's running like a driving storm.
That's like 1974, man. And
that's metal.
like, that is metal as hell. I mean, and that's, we have to do an episode on them at some point too. I mean, just the versatility in their music. Like they could do Bohemian Rhapsody, or they did like, Body Language. And then that song, Metallica covered that song.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and that Queen song, that just rocks. I love that real heavy, bluesy kind of dirty stuff that they did sometimes.
Totally. Roger Taylor had this in the pocket drumming that he would not interrupt Freddie's vocals. Like he walks that wire so Freddie can be Freddie and Brian May can be Brian May. He's not necessarily taking the back seat, but he's playing it down.
Staying out of the way.
Staying out of the way is a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I love Queen. I was like really, really into them in high school.
Yeah.
They're still great. So.
Yeah, he's a great drummer.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite.
What else, man? Oh, I know you don't like this next dude, but I put Mick Fleetwood on the list. Just worth talking about.
No, he's a great drummer.
I know you're not a huge
I
Fleetwood.
just don't. Yeah, I don't think he's that great of a drummer. I think he's another dude that got lucky.
Yeah.
Oh, Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks at once. They brought them both into the band at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's the face of the band. And
you think so?
Well, I think so. I get maybe not, right? I mean, Stevie Nicks is probably the face of the band, but I mean, part of the name is after Mick Fleetwood, and he's like enormous. I don't know. He's just kind of, he's just a really tall dude,
he's
and he's
giant.
just kind of the, I don't know. I guess he's almost like a character more than like a musician.
Yeah, he's almost like Lemmy.
Yeah, a little bit. He's like he looks like Lemmy a little bit too, minus all the Jack Daniels and the thing on his face. But I like Fleetwood Mac. I've had tickets to see them before I had to sell them because I was away for work and I couldn't go, and I'd never gone and seen them since. And who knows now with they're always like, I joked the one time, said I wanted to do like who was more dysfunctional, them or the Mamas and the Papas. This like because they're always. I mean, Fleetwood Mac is.
They're all banging each other back and forth, ripping each other,
writing songs about each other, and
stealing their drugs from each other, and everybody slept with Stevie Nicks.
Yeah,
she slept with everybody in the band. She
Yep.
I don't think much of her either. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, I know. We've talked about her too, but I don't know. I like their music. I mean, it's certainly not very heavy rock and roll, but they've got some. It's very melodic and.
But like when I think of Fleetwood Mac, the last thing I think about is drums.
Okay.
Not like we say Zeppelin. You say Zeppelin, I think of Bonzo.
Right. I think of Mick Fleetwood. As you say that, I'm thinking of I'll see a concert of them on VH1, and they're showing him playing the drums, and it's he's very theatrical when he's playing.
Yeah, I don't dig all that shit.
And it's like I think of that more than I think of the sound of him, or or him on the cover of Rumors, standing up, towering over everybody. But
that's exactly what I'm talking about. He's he's like a clown.
Yeah, he's
next to the princess.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's like the jester.
Yeah,
and Stevie Nicks is the princess, and Lindsey Buckingham's the king. And
okay, cool. All right, we'll keep on rolling, man. We don't need to play a Fleetwood Mac song.
No, I don't. I just don't like their music, man.
Yeah, that's cool. I put Bill Ward on here.
Definitely
from Sabbath.
From Sabbath, very great
just because
drummer.
I mean, heavy metal. Another dude that probably stays out of the way of Tony Iommi is just as Henry Rollins calls him, the Dark Lord of Metal.
Well, staying out of the way is one way to put it, but with Sabbath, they are all synchronized. Da, na, 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 na. If that makes any sense to our listeners.
Okay.
He's a very great drummer. I think he invented heavy metal drumming.
Okay. I can play something from them. We don't have anything on the playlist. I'll just play Paranoid. Yeah, I think Bill Ward gets overlooked by the other guys in
Totally.
the band. You know, Ozzy
Oh, yeah.
and Tony Iommi and Geezer.
Yeah,
and,
when Ozzy's like biting heads off his shit, and,
Right.
You know, running around and being a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
How can you even be in the starlight? He's like the Black Sabbath member that's forgotten about.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because he doesn't even play with them anymore.
Yeah.
I've seen him 10 years ago, Sabbath, and he wasn't the drummer then. So he hasn't been with them for a long
Right.
time.
Well, because the guy playing with Sabbath was with Motley Crue.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Was the other guy that was filling in, and
Yes,
he's great.
He is great.
He did a nice job filling in. We talked about that a couple episodes ago. I want to just keep on rolling, man. I got a handful of other dudes before we get into everything. We've been talking for almost an hour. Maybe we'll do a couple more. We'll take a break. But I put Larry Mullen on here from
Definitely.
U2. I know you like him a lot.
He's unbelievable. U2's a rhythm band. Nothing is more important than Larry Mullen in that band.
Yeah.
Adam is a great bass player. He holds it down. But Larry, man, he's the one that got the band together.
Yeah.
He is U2. Everybody thinks like Bono's.
Yeah, you
U2
said that in the
thing.
episode we did on the Joshua Tree.
No, he tells Bono what to do. It's like his call.
All
It's
right.
his band.
What do you have on? You had Desire, but from Rattle a Hum on here.
Yeah, let's play a little bit of that.
All right, cool.
He's great.
Yeah.
You never hear anything about him bad. You never hear anything bad about him.
And he's
at all.
another, like The Edge gets a lot of the credit of that band,
Sure.
for his guitar work.
Sure.
And Larry Mullen definitely gets overlooked.
Larry Mullen is the heartbeat of U2.
Right on. All right, man. Moving on. I had Alex Van Halen
Yeah,
on here.
I
I mean,
was just
there's
thinking
some
about that.
times, man, and you picked Hot for Teacher. That was the song I would have put on here too. Just he has some moments, man, where absolutely Eddie Van Halen is like, the star of that band.
How do you like? We're talking about taking the Starlight. How do you play with Eddie Van Halen when everybody's about Eddie? I mean, you're Alex Van Halen. You're part of Van Halen. You're amazing. The whole band's amazing. But you're Eddie's brother.
Right. I mean, the drums on Hot for Teacher, though, kick ass. It's a great.
He tried to make it sound like a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Can we play it?
Yeah, sure, dude. Here. It's awesome. Right? I mean, the two of them
They were
playing on that are just that's one of my favorite Van Halen songs.
The one thing Eddie was, he was very loyal to his brother. He never played with another band.
Right.
He never played with another drummer. It was just always his brother.
Right.
That's,
He didn't feel that way with Michael Anthony, but he felt that way with the singers. But yeah, definitely his brother.
well, they are the Van Halens.
That's true. That is true. We just keep on rolling. Rick Allen, dude. All right, so, yeah, we got to talk about Rick Allen.
Rick Allen.
We talked a little bit about that. We were shooting the crap about the Motley Crue Def Leppard show.
If people don't know, Rick Allen's the drummer at Def
Right.
Leppard. He's very well known. He's got one arm. He plays the drums with one arm. It's a very unique style of playing how he plays. Maybe one day I'll break it down on our show.
It's a really interesting. I mean, that whole story is just really interesting.
It's
How
really- he was
that
like-
lost the arm and then it was reattached and he lost it again and then that the band kind of waited and let him relearn everything. They could have been like, okay, dude, like you're a drummer, you have one arm, you're out.
Do you think the warden knows he had two arms at one time?
Well, I think I told the warden one time he had 3 arms and he lost 2 of them. I don't know.
But I'm just saying, I don't think people remember him ever having the other arm, unless you watch some of those old videos.
The really old stuff. I mean, that's too. I mean, that was like right at their
height.
peak, right? They were
huge.
Right. They were a huge band, and that car accident happened. And if anybody doesn't know, he was driving with his arm like through the seatbelt, but didn't have the seatbelt attached, and he got in an accident, and it sheared his arm off, and then he had it surgically reattached, and then it got infected, and they had to re-amputate it. And I was like, I can't imagine going through that twice. You know what I mean?
Away.
Right. And thinking that like oh shit, I got it back. And then no, you don't. And it's just,
they said, when the guys in the band went and saw him in the hospital, he was sitting up and he had his feet on the ground. He's like, I'm going to play with my one hand and I'm going to use an electric drum beat on a pedal.
Yeah.
To use that, and I'll use a regular bass drum. His whole way of drumming changed overnight when he lost his arm.
Right. It's not like you can go learn from somebody else either, because there's no other one-armed drummers, right? So he had to completely reinvent the style of how you play drums.
I think he did. Like, let's hear Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Yeah, dude,
man.
that's got the great drums in it.
Step inside, walk this way, you and me, babe. Hey, hey! Yeah, we like a bomb, baby, come and get it on. Living like a lover with a radar phone. Looking like a tramp, like a video bam. Demolition woman, can I be your man?
It's like his beat's almost like hip hop.
Yeah, that drum is like to me, that's the most recognizable part of that song.
Yeah, that rhythm did a lot for me in my drumming, like adopting. I don't know, just like the. It's almost Rick Allen plays a way of like a hip hop, like Questlove kind of way.
Okay.
I think when he had two arms, he's way better than Questlove. But Rick Allen's one of the greatest drummers around. He overcame a lot of things. He had to learn how to play the drums a whole new way. He never gave up.
As they're talking to, I'm just thinking that I don't think we've talked about a band where they have an amazing drummer, but then there's also like one other person in that band who's an amazing musician.
Yeah.
Whether you're in Queen or Zeppelin, all these other bands, they all have other great, I guess that's why they're famous bands. Yeah, but I can't think of one band that, where the drummer just kind of carries them to fame. So.
No.
Maybe
being the
Genesis,
drummer is, being the drummer gets, when they announce a drummer's name, he gets the most applause.
Right.
If you ever go to a concert, you notice that.
Yeah.
Like, let's hear it for Max Weinberg, and everybody moves their goddamn mind.
Yeah. I just thinking too, like, like when the singer, like I've seen Godsmack a handful of times, and Sully Erna is like, he's a really talented dude. He plays like the piano and the drums. He can play pretty much every instrument in the band, but there's always a part where they wheel out a second drum kit, and he does a drum off with the drummer. And they're kind of like, the drums are on like casters, so they're kind of like moving around the stage. And the place goes batshit.
Yeah, I've seen
when he does it. So it's like, but if he picked up a guitar and played something, they don't care.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like that moment of like, oh, cool, you're going to play drums. And it's just,
I just think drums are cooler.
Yeah.
Drums are cool. To look at, they're like beautiful.
Right.
Chrome and, just, it looks like a motorcycle.
Even in the Muppets, like Animal was the famous person. Nobody remembers the other guys in Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. Most people don't even know the band is called Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem.
Only the real Muppet fans know that.
I only know that because I'm hosting trivia at my Elks Lodge next week.
Like,
I'm doing one on Muppets.
That's great.
And that's I had to look that up. It'll be one of the questions. It's, hopefully nobody in my Elks Lodge listens to this before it comes out, before trivia comes out, or I have to change the question. But anyway, I got a couple more names. You mentioned Max Weinberg. He's a dude. He's like, I don't want to put him in the same category as Charlie Watts, but like the role he plays with that band is kind of like keeping them on time.
Keeps it right on time. He's in the pocket.
staying
Because
out
there's a
of the
lot
way.
of staying out of the way.
I saw them one time, and they were with the E Street. It's Springsteen, the E Street Band's drummer. I mean, there was like fucking 20 people on the stage. You know, you had a horn section, and you had Little Steven and Nils Lofgren, and Bruce can play guitar, and there's just a lot of stuff. And
There's a lot of stuff going
Max
on.
is like staying in his lane.
He keeps it all together.
Yeah.
He's the bridge. He's the steady bridge.
Yeah.
By everybody's
For
crossing.
that whole band, and he has been for 40 years. But
Yeah, he's a great drummer. His son's a great drummer too.
Yes, for Slipknot.
Yeah.
And I saw Springsteen. He filled in for Springsteen on a tour.
I remember him doing that.
I think it's because his dad was tied up doing the Conan O'Brien gig. So, but anyway, all right, yeah, we don't need to play more Bruce. We did a whole episode on him, and we talked about him a lot. And I got some stuff about him in the music news
Max
section.
Weinberg's a great drummer.
Max-
You can't listen to all those records. Listen to all those songs.
Mighty Max Weinberg, and they got him for he responded to an ad in like the Village Voice or something when they were looking for him.
It's amazing.
Lars Ulrich, from Metallica.
Yeah, Lars was a big influence on me.
He's also he's a talented musician. He kind of gets, I don't know, man. I don't know if people still like crap on him because of all that shit with Napster and suing the fans.
What he did had to be done. It is what it is. But he took the role as being the band's leader.
Yes.
So it's very few that drummers are the leader of the band.
That's a good point, man. I mentioned Phil Collins and Don Henley. I'd forgotten about Lars, and that was real. I think that was the moment when he kind of became the face of it.
Yeah.
And I get it, man. I mean, it's like as a college kid when that happened, I was like, wow, what an asshole. But then I also, like, in hindsight, you're like, yeah, dude, that's how they make their money, right? And it was like when the whole music industry was going upside down, and a lot of bands, they still bitch about how they don't make any money off of like Spotify and everything else, and that was kind of the beginning of it.
Go play some more. Go out and play some more gigs.
That's true, right? It's not that the tours don't support the albums anymore. The albums are just the bridge in between the tours, and the tours are where all the money's made, and the merch and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, records.
Or getting on Stranger Things, apparently, for Metallica.
Definitely. That was great. Unbelievable. That was the most metal thing I've seen in a long time.
I think they just played, like, whatever. I don't watch the show, but you had mentioned the one kid played Master of Puppets, and I think that kid just played with Metallica.
He did. I saw that on TV.
I saw it
he
a
was
link
at
for
Lollapalooza in Chicago, I think it was.
I put Blackened off of Injustice for All on here.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it. There's something about like the drumming in that, and I'm not a musician, so it's hard for me to describe it. But it's like it's very tight sounding. Right? There's no bass. There's not a lot of bass to it when he's hitting it.
Yeah, that album is famous with not having any bass on it. It's how it was produced. But Lars, to me, was Michael Jordan when I was growing up, especially when I never seen anybody do double bass pedal the way that Lars did in One. When I heard that at 12, 13 years old, I was like, Jesus Christ. And that's when I start really getting into drums.
That's a song too. Like when I was a kid, I heard, and I was like, "What is this? This is awesome!" It was like I saw it on MTV like late at night or something, and the video was freaky as hell. And I always like songs that tell stories, and I was just like, "This is awesome."
Lars's drumming is like very, very metal. There's no jazz to it. There's none of that. It's just all fucking metal.
Yeah, it's just very sharp.
Very
sound.
sharp.
Yeah.
It's all together. They all land on the same note together. He invented a different kind of metal.
But then it's like you compare it to the Brazilian Sepultura.
Yeah.
Or like they're like Brazilian.
Yeah.
So they got a very like and they had that other band was like a Soulfly. It was very South American kind of drumming to it. Well, it's really heavy. And it's a little too heavy for me, but I always liked the drums that Sepultura played.
Oh yeah, they're heavy as shit.
Yeah.
When you go see them in concert, they end their set with a drum circle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
That's
they
cool.
come out with other guys from the band, other bands are coming out playing on the drums with them and shit like that.
Max Cavalera, that's the
Okay.
guy's name. Yeah, Brazil, and he's from Brazil. Yeah, dude, I always thought they were cool because they just had like kind of different like world music influences on their stuff. But it's a little too heavy for me, and I probably wouldn't listen to it anymore at this age of my life. Although if I might, my kids might be like, "What the fuck are we listening to?" But it's all good.
Let's listen to one heavy thing.
Yeah, dude.
We're already on heavy now. One the first metal bands we can say without a doubt is Motorhead.
Yes.
Motorhead came up with a sound that's very unique, especially for this one song that the drums were on. Overkill.
Yeah, man. Phil Filthy Animal Taylor.
I met him when I was a kid.
Did you?
Yep.
I put on my notes. Again, there's 2 bass drums going on.
Yeah,
here. There's a couple dudes in here that I put that on my notes that they were playing a double bass.
Well, he's like, I know the guys in Deep Purple were using double bass pedals and 2 different, and so was Keith Moon had
Keith
2,
Moon played.
2 different things. But there's something different about that drumming.
Yeah, Deep Purple was another. Like I had them on the list, and I was like, all right, dude, we'll be here all night, and I just didn't care to put them on here.
Yeah, we can say, that guy from Deep Purple's great.
Yeah, right. And then you move on.
I don't know any of their songs.
It's like Smoke on the Water.
Yeah.
Some of the other stuff. The Rock and Roll Archaeology, the flagship show under Pantheon, they did a lot on a Deep Purple, and they were like speaking very highly of like the influence that they had, and I was kind of like, okay, man, I didn't know any of that. Interesting. But anyway, yeah, dude, let's play a little bit of Overkill. I mean, you talk about we're saying how like we don't like Cream and like the sound of the 3-piece band. Like, no, this is a 3-piece band.
Yeah,
that's
it's a different kind.
Right.
But look at the way he's playing the drums.
Yeah. Here
Listen
you go.
to this.
Only way to feel the noise is when it's good and loud. So good I can't believe it, screaming with the crowd. Don't sweat it, get it back to you.
I mean, that's like, there's so much bass going on in that.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to that Metallica song we just played, it's the tone of it is just so much different. And it was like, put them in the goddamn Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, man. It's just like
what's not? It's a no brainer.
right. They're punk, they're metal, they're
were
a 3-piece
everything.
band. He is just a over the top character. Like
Yes.
he is rock and roll, man. Like when you think of like a rock and roll star, that is what
I don't think we'll see them anytime soon.
You're gonna see Kate Bush get in before
This year,
you're gonna see her next
That bitch
year.
is getting in this year.
Yeah.
I tell you that.
Yeah.
Stranger Things. Damn you.
Yeah, Stranger Things got to get Motorhead in or something. I don't know, get the Ghost of Lemmy or put him in like a Scooby Doo episode or something.
You'd be surprised that in Stranger Things on the soundtrack on the show is unbelievable.
Is it?
Yeah.
My wife and I watched
throwback.
20 minutes of the first episode. My wife does not. Well, neither of us like scary stuff, but it was like we watched 20 minutes of the first episode. She was like, "Nope, we're not watching this." And now my kids are watching. And I'll like walk through the living room and I see them watching it, and it's like the monster thing was like chewing people up, and it was pretty gory. And I was like,
It's a great show.
My teenagers are watching it, but
The pop culture part of it is great.
Yeah.
I think you can enjoy that.
Yeah, maybe I'll give it another shot. I've only got
It's not going anywhere.
I got 15 episodes of Better Call Saul left. And I'm all caught up. So
I haven't watched any of the new series yet.
yeah, we just started season 6, so I think there's 3 episodes left. We're probably not going to catch it before it ends, but we've been binge watching that
Great
for like
show.
2 months. Really good.
Great show.
All right, man. I got a couple other names on here.
Let's do one more. We'll take a break.
Yeah, all right, dude.
Let's talk about my favorite drummer of all time, John Fishman from Fish.
And Fish. Yes, I had to. Okay, go ahead.
He is the most inspiring drummer to me my whole life.
Okay.
He does it all. He never plays the same drum beat in any song. It's always a different drum beat. He's a crazy dude. He's really crazy. I've heard stories about him when he was in college. Took a lot of acid. he's always running around stage naked all the time.
Yeah.
Very Keith Moonish.
He's on the school board of his wherever.
How about that?
Wherever he lives, I saw he was like an elected official.
That's fucking unbelievable.
So, so what about him? Why was he so?
I don't know. The thing about his drumming is, I think his calmness that he has on his body says a lot about his drumming.
Okay.
Like, let's hear what I put down there. We put Cavern
off of A Picture to Nectar.
Let's play a little
Picture
bit
of
that.
Nectar. Sure.
Near, the mission's clear. It's later than we think. Before you slip into the night, you'll want something to drink. Steal away before the dawn and bring us back good news. But if you tread in primal suit,
it's funky. Sort of funky sound.
John's
to it.
The man, dude. He's right in the pocket. Keep on saying the pocket, but I think that's the most important part of being a drummer, that you know how to play in the pocket. You're going to be a great drummer if you learn how to do that. And we just heard that. Like, he didn't do anything special, didn't like that, but he did it very differently. That song was probably in 1992, maybe 1990 that album came out. But for that time, the drumming was different. I mean, I think Fish is a different kind of band. I think that's why people don't understand them, because they are really fucking different.
Right.
Like, most different than anything you think. I was sitting here thinking, you know who could take Neil Peart's place?
Him.
He could do it. They would never happen.
Right.
He could do all that shit with the bells and the blocks and all that shit. John
could
does
do
all
that.
that. He's a great drummer, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've said before that's not a band. Like, I never got into them. But every time you've put a song on one of our episodes when I play it, I'm like, all right, man, I dig it. So I probably need to sit down and try and give them a shot.
Fish. You must like.
I must convert.
We must take break.
Maybe that's a good exception. Maybe that's a good excuse when I said, like, I need to spend more time just kind of sitting with my headphones on, listening to music. I need to do that. But yeah, man, let's take a break. We'll come back. I got a couple more in this section, and we got some stuff on some session guys and then some modern drummers, and then we'll do the music news and electric chair and all other good stuff. So we'll be back.
Stick around.
Prisoners of Rock and Roll is sponsored by McCusker's Tavern at 17th and Shunk Streets in Philadelphia. There's something for everyone on the beer list and the jukebox at McCusker's. It's minutes from the sports stadiums in Philly, making it a great place to stop by for a few drinks before or after a concert or a game. Come see for yourself why everyone from Philadelphia Magazine to Playboy has called it one of the best dive bars in the city. Visit them at 17th and Shunk Streets in Philadelphia or on Facebook. That's McCusker's Tavern. You know, socks are like tattoos, psychologists, and divorce attorneys. Good ones ain't cheap, and cheap ones ain't good. That's why we're so excited that Prisoners of Rock and Roll is sponsored by our friends over at Boldfoot Socks. I mean, I love Boldfoot Socks because they're comfortable and they look good. And I've said on the show several times that I just like musicians that are good people. Well, I feel the same about companies I do business with. And Boldfoot Socks are made in America. They're veteran-owned, and they give 5% of their proceeds to veteran charities. I mean, I'd post a picture of social media of the pair I'm wearing right now, but that's a little weird. So instead, you can just go to boldfoot.com. All right, man, we're back. Thanks so much for sticking with us, dude. We got quite a list, man, and we were just circling up during the break talking about all the dudes that we got to keep talking about. But that's what we're here, man. We're here to educate and entertain. So the next person that we got on our list was Stuart Copeland from The Police, another band that we haven't talked about a whole lot in the show.
They're unbelievable. I take back what I said about three-piece band. I mean, what they do as a three-piece is fucking amazing.
And they're like what are they? You know, like they're rock, they're reggae, they're pop, they're new wave,
they're punk.
You know, they're kind of all over the place.
They came in like right at the right time of music. Like punk rock just was getting over, and new wave was coming through. Ska was big, you know.
Yeah, they were almost a little bit like the Clash kind of straddles that like punk and reggae, and the Police were kind of like pop and reggae or new wave and reggae. And sometimes Sting gets he's a little
jerk.
He's a little much sometimes with some of his stuff.
Loves himself.
Yeah, nobody loves Sting like Sting loves Sting. But but they're talented musicians, and he did a whole bunch. Stuart Copeland was in that band. Oysterhead with Trey and Les Claypool.
Trey
it was
from
pretty
Fish.
cool. Yeah, Trey Anastasio from them. And I put you put Message in a Bottle from the Police on this playlist, and it's also like as we're just talking about it, like the drumming is one of the first things I hear in my head.
It's a kick-ass.
Yeah.
It's a kick-ass intro.
Yeah, here you go.
Just a castaway, island lost at sea. Another lonely day, no one here but me. More loneliness any man could bear. Rescue me before I fall into despair. I'll send an SOS to the world.
Yeah,
Drummer. He makes those songs. The drums are a big part of the Police. I mean, I think when I think of the Police, I think of basically Sting and Stuart Copeland. I don't really think about the guitars very much.
Yeah. There's a lot of songs. I'm just sitting here thinking about other Police songs, and most of I can hear the drums as I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
as some of the other songs. So
He had a great way to play drums. He always did something different. Like, I love what he does. He doesn't do much on it, but Wrapped Around Your Finger, what he does on that, it's haunting. What he brings to it.
all good stuff, man. Another band is a little kind of contemporary, kind of like the Police were. The Red Hot Chili Peppers, Chad
Yes.
Smith.
Are they contemporary?
I don't know, man. They're still around, right? They're still, I don't know. They're not classic rock. They're not.
No,
they came up in the 80s.
I think they
got
are
huge in the
classic
90s.
rock.
Are they?
Yeah, they've been around for 45
Yeah,
years.
I guess you're right.
What they came out in, like, the Chili Peppers probably came out about 1982, 1983. Chad Smith didn't join the band until maybe 1987. He joined the band, I believe.
Their first album came out in 84. Yeah, so, yeah, you're about right. I don't know, man. I don't know if they're classic rock or what they're...
I don't know. I'm just tired of seeing them. I know that. I mean, I love Flea. I read his book. It was great. I'm just tired of Anthony Kiedis. He just sucks.
I mean, this...
I mean,
you've got Mellowship Slinky and B Major on here off of
Which
Blood
is
Sugar Sex
fucking
Magic.
awesome.
Let's play a little bit of it and I'll talk about that album.
I got a mellowship, I got a fellowship, I got a non-stop yo swan yellow chip.
That album, man, was such a...
Yeah.
I listened to that all the time when that album came out.
Chad Smith fucking bangs on those drums, man. He destroys them. Every time I see him play, he's at full gear fast. Like, swinging his arms around, hitting all the cymbals, everything like that. His facial expressions are always happening. He's just always bangs, 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 bangs. But I don't think he does much besides banging.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's playing the drums, and then there's banging
on the drums.
And I think he bangs on the drums. He doesn't play lightly. He doesn't anything light at all. Everything's very heavy. He hits really hard. I saw him play, let's say it was the halftime of UCLA basketball game. They had a drum set. Chad Smith was there, jumps behind the drum set. He fucking destroys this drum set. It's just...
Because of the way he's just banging on it?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Whoever's drum set it is like, what'd
What'd you do to my stuff?
Yeah.
Right.
But that's what I don't like about Chad Smith is that he fucking hits too hard all the time.
Okay.
And the Chili Peppers haven't had a good fucking song in like 15 years.
Yeah, I like them more than you do. So
They disappoint me though. That's why I don't like them. They let me down.
okay, it's all good. Who else? Don Henley. We don't need to play anything from the
fuck
Eagles.
Don
Don Henley,
Henley.
just another drummer that
Let's talk about Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee, man, of course.
Tommy's got the big drumsticks.
Yes, the big personality, over the top.
He is fucking a train wreck.
They're all of them are train wrecks.
I just think Tommy Lee is now a cartoon of himself.
Yeah,
Like what Tommy Lee was in the 80s and 90s and what he is now, it's a fucking joke.
it's all. I mean, they all are, but yeah, him especially because he had the TV show and then the
He
scandal.
was a celebrity.
Yeah, he just kind of like became over the top, right? But without the band, right?
Yeah,
He just kind of
he
on
was
his own.
He was just known as Tommy Lee Goes to
Right.
College.
Right.
Or Tommy Land, his book or whatever.
Yeah, kind of a clown.
But he's a great fucking drummer.
Right.
You can't take anything
Yeah.
away from him. He's fucking solid. He's one of my favorite drummers growing up. I imitated him a lot, drumming wise, growing up. Let's play Primal Scream,
Yeah,
man.
man. Yeah.
Has a great
I think it's like the
intro.
third time we've ever played this on the show, but it's great.
Great
Yeah,
drummer.
great. The drums in that in the beginning are just
In that,
awesome.
Wild Side, Dr. Feelgood,
Yeah.
Kickstart My Heart, all drum driven bands. I think Tommy Lee. I think when I think of Motley Crue, I think of Tommy Lee and Nikki Sixx. I don't think of the other two
Mick Mars and
and Vince Neil.
Vince Neil.
I think those Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee were fucking maniacs. Have you ever watched that movie, The Dirt?
Yeah,
Yeah, like, that's
I had all four of them were just completely over the top, and I mean,
Yeah,
Mick
they're-
Mars is like the old dude out of the four of them, but
all banged up.
yeah,
No, but when we saw Motley on the stadium tour, Tommy was hurt.
yeah,
So Tommy would go play a couple songs, and then their backup drummer
Yeah.
would come out and play a couple of songs. It was kind of disappointing.
yeah. It was like, you want to see
I mean,
him, you want to see the drum kit go upside down and all that other shit
Yeah.
that he does, all the fireworks.
But that's
and
what I
everything.
was afraid was going to happen with the stadium tour. Like it's going to be phoned in,
Right.
Like Tommy, like Tommy's going to phone it in.
I'm thinking too, I mean, with that, we were talking about that when we were leaving the show, my wife and I, and I was like, they probably didn't have the time to set that shit up either, right? The rig to have him go upside down. You're doing a set change, and it's like, I mean, they were turning that around, 20 minutes, half hour.
Yeah.
It's like, to set that all that stuff up, and the other bands probably don't want to play with all that shit behind them already, waiting for them.
Sure.
Because they all had big displays and
Oh
stuff.
my God. What a great show that was.
Yeah, that was a really good concert. I know we talked about it at length before. I think that's it on those other. Oh, you know what, dude? I did have one other. I had Phil Collins on here.
Stop talking about Phil Collins already, dude.
Again, brought him up. I don't need. Under my notes, I just wrote "ugh," and then the two dudes from the Grateful Dead are worth
Mickey
mentioning.
Hart
too.
and Bill
Mickey Hart.
Cruz.
Yeah,
Great.
Yeah.
I love the Grateful Dead. I say we had
Yeah.
that Grateful Dead episode. I
Right.
thought the Grateful Dead episode came out pretty
yeah,
good.
it did well, and it
Yeah.
did well with the listeners liked it. So
Very cool.
Yeah, dude. I just we probably don't need to. We talked about them already. The last
All last
episode,
week.
right? The whole last episode, but a band that rolls with two drummers, so it definitely has a different kind of sound. And I think you
Very
said before
tribal.
that it's like it's too. You think it's a
It's
little
too
too
cluttered.
much. It's a little too much.
It's a little bit too cluttered.
Yeah.
I like my Grateful Dead, one drummer. Yeah, I don't like the two drumming thing.
A little cleaner sounding.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's fair. All right, cool. I had a couple. I looked into, before we get into like the really more contemporary stuff, I looked up a couple like session guys that I thought were really interesting. And there's a couple dudes on here that I knew, and there's a couple guys on here that I didn't. And the first one we'll probably talk about would be Benny Benjamin. He was the drummer, in the Funk Brothers,
Yes.
right? Papa Zita. He's one of
Yeah.
the 2 members from the Funk Brothers who are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We did a whole episode on the Funk Brothers and made a very compelling argument that they should be in the Rock and Roll
should.
Hall of Fame. But Benny Benjamin is in there, Papa Zita. I mean, you think of any Motown hit that, Diana Ross and Smokey and all that other stuff, like, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye and all, like,
One drummer.
he played on all of that stuff, man. Just amazing. And all these guys, like, that I'm going to talk about, like, you're like, holy shit, these guys played on like a zillion things.
Yeah.
I didn't put any Motown stuff on the playlist.
We did an episode.
We did a whole episode
About
on,
the
so you go
Funk
back
Brothers.
and you can listen to
Yeah,
any of that stuff.
We really got deep into that conversation.
Yeah, that was a great episode too. I learned a lot on that episode. Another one that I had on here was Alan Jackson Jr. So he's the drummer for Booker T and the MGs, and Booker T and the MGs are the house band for Stax Records. And here, I'll play a little bit of, I put Green Onions on here. He's not doing much in the drums there, but he was a session guy for Elvis, Clapton, Aretha Franklin. So,
But simple is better, bro.
yeah, that's true. Right.
Simple
right.
is better, especially something like that.
All those Otis Redding songs,
Yeah.
he's the drummer in. He's a pretty interesting story too, man. He died. Him and his wife were getting through a divorce, and his wife shot him. He survived, and then a couple months later, he was murdered by intruders in his house. So
Man,
just kind of
that's bad luck,
yeah, bad
dude.
luck, right? So, who else did I got? I had 2 other guys on here. The other was Hal Blaine. So Hal Blaine was the drummer for the Wrecking Crew.
Yes.
Phil Spector's house band. Another group that we've had on the topic list for a while.
Yeah, they were Capitol's backup band.
Yeah. And he played on over 6,000 songs, and he was on 40 number 1 hits.
Unbelievable.
He was on he played on every Grammy record of the year from 1966 to 1971 for like 6 years in a row, which is just like crazy. Here's a song this is him playing drums on this. You probably know this song.
Well, since she put me down, I've been up to and in my head. I come in late at night and in the morning I just lay in bed. But Ronnie, you look so fine, and I know it wouldn't take much time for you to help me, Rhonda, help me get her out of my heart. Help me, Rhonda, help me, Rhonda, help me, Rhonda.
Man, I love
Man,
that song.
unreal.
I love that song so much.
Yeah. It's a shame Dennis Wilson's the drummer for the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let him play on his own records.
Yeah.
They'd let him do like a little clapping and shit like that.
Yeah.
But the studio guys were way better than him.
Yeah. And then I got one other guy, J.R. Robinson. So his website says he's the most recorded drummer in music. He's played on 62 top 100 hits. I made a quick list of some stuff. So he's the drummer on the entire Off the Wall album, Michael Jackson. He's the drummer, We Are the World, Back in the High Life by Stevie Winwood, Express Yourself, Madonna, Crazy by Seal, Change the World by Clapton, Greatest Love of All, Whitney Houston, Rod Stewart, George Strait, California Girls by David Lee Roth, Just a Gigolo by David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
And which we can play that. We haven't played that. How many people are doing
Buzzity
that?
bop.
And then Dancing on the Ceiling by Lionel Richie.
Love
so dude
Lionel Richie.
has played a ton of.
Man, I would see that's the career that I wish I would have had. Like a no-name dude that plays on all these hits.
Yeah, and just
Yeah,
a
a
session
session
guy
guy.
plays with everybody. Here's a little
could-
bit of Just
yeah.
a Gigolo.
when youth will pass away. What will they say about me when the end comes?
This dude, he's also, I mean, he's done like jazz stuff. He's played with, I have his thing, he got a Grammy Award. He did some stuff with Rufus and Shaka Khan. He's done with Wilson Phillips, Bonnie Raitt, Frampton.
Jesus.
He's on all those Pointer Sister hits, Lady Gaga, Daft Punk. He's still alive. He's 67. So
Wow,
the guy's
and
just like,
and he's still playing on hits.
yeah, you can find like YouTube videos of him like giving like instructions on how to play drums.
Oh,
It's just
I'm
like
gonna
a
look
like
that
a
up.
super pro session guy who's just been doing like just everything.
YouTube is great for someone like me.
Learning stuff and
To learn the way I learn drums is I have to see it be done. Like to look at what sheet music never helped me. It just always looked out of whack.
Yeah.
Like how we were talking a couple weeks ago.
this guy plays he plays drums on a lot of like movie scores like Space Jam, Independence Day, The Bodyguard, Jerry Maguire.
He was the king of the 90s.
Yeah. So My Cousin Vinny, Men of Steel. So he just does a lot of like, session stuff for like orchestras and shit like that. Like he does a lot of stuff with Hans Zimmer and really cool. This guy I never knew. And I was like, all right, man.
That's on all these fucking songs.
Right. A guy you don't know. And a guy just every day he's probably in the studio just slugging it out, making that money. So really cool. All right, so that's those guys, and then some of the more modern stuff. So I got a couple dudes on here. Maybe we'll just talk about Taylor Hawkins first, man.
Yeah, God bless him, man.
Yeah.
What a great drummer he was. He was unbelievable. I was watching a documentary today with Taylor Hawkins in it about drumming. And the way he described of how he started playing the drums really described in the way how I started playing the drums. He said, right when he fucking sat down, he could just play. And that's what happened to me. I could just sit down and I could play.
Just play. That's cool.
It's just, I'm a natural drummer. It's, yeah. No, that's what we're going to go into.
All right, here we go.
What a great drummer. He was Alanis's Morsette's drummer at first.
Yep.
And he didn't want to be in her band. He wanted to join a real band.
A rock and roll band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's a shame. Oh, the great dude. I always heard he was a great guy.
It's like every picture you see of him, he's
smiling.
smiling, right? And so many people when he passed away, it was like everybody in the industry came out with a statement about him, like
people
just how
that you
much
would never even expect.
Right. You would expect them that they would travel, be in the same circle.
Yeah, I mean, I just think he was so down to earth. I think you have to be down to earth to be with Dave Grohl.
Yeah. We should probably talk about Dave Grohl a little
Dave
bit too.
Grohl,
and
man, he's a great drummer. I mean, Nirvana was good before he came in the band, but when he came into the band became
right. That's when they took off. He's not on the Bleach album, the one that was on Sub Pop.
Yeah,
but, he's on Nevermind, and you had Breed on here. We'll play a little bit of that. Man, I listened to that. Much like that Red Hot Chili Peppers album, I listened to that so much when that album came out. But I guess we all did, right?
No,
It
I
changed
didn't.
everything.
I didn't.
No?
Well, not like everybody else did. But I like Dave Grohl right off the bat. I liked him, like, how heavy he was. Like, you never saw his face in the video. He just playing his heart out.
Right, hair flying everywhere.
Yeah.
He's playing.
And, like, he did a lot other songs that were, you know, a different kind of drumming, like harp-shaped box.
Yeah.
There's a different kind of drum, you know, rhythm going on in there. But I think he's very diverse, but I think he's very punk rock. I don't see Dave Grohl sitting down playing jazz with anybody.
No.
Or like anything to do with Rush. I mean, I don't know. He probably loves Rush.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, I'm an asshole for even saying that, but
Right. Oh, well, I mean, it's a different type of music. You
Yeah.
know, just doesn't mean they're gonna, you know, that they're gonna play that music. They could still know the people and appreciate it. All right, so we got Dave Grohl, Taylor Hawkins. Oh, Matt Cameron I put him on here
yes,
too, man.
the mighty Matt Cameron.
So he was in Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and Smashing Pumpkins.
No, Temple of the Dog.
Temple of the Dog. I thought Matt Cameron played.
No. He played for Pearl Jam. He played for Soundgarden.
He played on 8 songs, 7 songs on the album Adore.
Huh.
Which came out after Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
Oh, well.
So, which I don't even remember that album.
Neither
so
does
it's largely,
anybody else.
they're right. So it's largely that was kind of like that album was what Melancholy and Infinite Sadness was like. He just became Billy Corgan became too much for me, and that's kind of where I bailed out on them. So, but anyway, but the stuff I put, well, here's a little bit. I put Jesus Christ Pose from Soundgarden. Here's the drumming on this.
Cameron.
Just kicks ass. Can you imagine, man? Like you're in 2 of the biggest bands of the grunge era.
They were going to say we're going to do a tour with Soundgarden and Pearl Jam. It's going to be called Kill Matt Cameron Tour.
Just right, he'd be on the stage for like 6 hours a night.
God, that'd be awesome. He's one of my favorite drummers.
Yeah, I like
you go see him live, and it's just like he's another one. His composure is so calm, and it's just so focused, and I admire that.
Yeah, I liked that era of Soundgarden a lot. I liked that album a lot.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
Couple other dudes on here, but Questlove, you know, he gets a lot of publicity probably because he's in a hip hop band and they actually, you know, he plays instruments and he's a really good drummer too.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
You know, and he's you know, he's like an outspoken dude and he's kind of an activist and he's got the gig on TV and all other kind of stuff.
He's a celebrity.
Yeah.
I think he's more of a celebrity than a drummer.
I think he is too.
Yeah,
that.
He's become like some kind of cartoon character.
Yeah.
You know, like he definitely, The Roots is a great band, you know, unfucking believable. But Quest, he just bass and snare drum.
Yeah.
Bass and snare drum. That's all he does.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's all. I don't know.
Okay.
I never really was impressed with him.
Here you go. Here's a little bit of You Got Me.
If you were worried about where I've been or who I saw, what club I went to with my homies, baby, don't worry, you know that you got me. If you were worried about where I've been or who I saw, what club I went to with my homies, baby, don't worry, you know that you got me.
Somebody told me that this planet was small. We used to live in the same building on the same floor and never met before until I'm overseas on tour and peep this Ethiopian queen from Philly taking classes abroad. She's studying film.
I don't think much of him.
Yeah, I think later in that song, I think the drums, hang on.
Like that.
Don't worry, you know that you got me. If you were worried about where
Like there's more going on there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But But yeah, when you said that, I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking just every time I've ever seen him on TV, he's just kind of, you know,
He's in the pocket.
yeah.
He can play any fucking song there is.
Yeah.
That comes to him that they play on that TV show.
So, and I'm wondering, like, because a lot of hip hop is like a drum machine, so you're not playing a lot of like real complicated shit on a drum machine, right? It's just kind of like,
No, I mean,
it's
some
like,
of
is
those
that
beats.
that's kind of what he's replicating.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah,
I
I like them. I like that song. You know, he's worth mentioning in the list.
Yeah,
so.
he's definitely a great drummer.
A modern is for modern people, and then I got two more. So Meg White, you put her on here, which was a good call.
What they did was something different.
Yeah.
Just drums and guitar.
The two-piece band.
Two-piece band. And,
Yeah.
and what a sound they made.
Yeah, and you put Icky Thump on the playlist.
Yeah.
Now he can thump, who the thunk sitting drunk on a wagon to Mexico. Well, what a chump, man, my head got a bump when I hit it on the radio.
I like them.
I like them a lot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we've talked about them before. Yeah, dude, they're cool. I like them. And it's it's the first female we've talked about on the list. There's a couple of, I'm trying to think like,
There's a few girl drummers out there.
yeah, like Kid Rock's drummer is
She's-
female. She's really good.
Where we think she is anyway.
Yeah, right.
Whatever
right.
she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sheena Easton.
She came up on my notes.
Yeah.
I didn't put
She's
her
a
on
great
there,
drummer.
but yeah. Yeah, Sheena Easton's a good, female drummer.
The girl from Hole. She was really good.
Yeah.
I forget her name. But she played for Motley Crue for a summer tour.
Patricia Schemmel.
She hits hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a good drummer.
I'd forgotten about her. But anyway, and then the last dude I had on the list was Carter Buford from the Dave Matthews Band.
Great drummer, man.
Yeah, he's always thinks that he's got a really big drum kit. You know,
Yeah.
not Neil Peart, but there's still like a lot of shit on his thing.
He gets on my fucking nerves, though.
You've said that before.
He overplays. It's just everything is. It's just like in Dave's just doing a simple song, and Peter Carter's up there just fucking wailing away on anything, an open spot. He's going to throw a drum in there. I don't like that.
Yeah, and I mean that's another band that they got a lot of really talented musicians, and there's always just a lot going on in all of their music. I kind of just stopped following them probably in like the late '90s. I didn't even put a song by them on here, but there's actually a Spotify playlist is called Carter Buford's Drumming Highlights. So
Yeah.
what's on here? Gray Street. Here you go.
Oh, look at how she listens. She says nothing of what she thinks. She just goes stumbling through her memories.
I don't know that song.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I like that song.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
a
I
great
just
song.
stopped keeping up with them.
Yeah, dude, they put so much music out.
Yeah.
If it's not Fish or if it's not like the Grateful Dead, I'm not paying attention to
Just
it.
don't have the time to keep up with it. So.
No, but you have to invest time in the Dave's catalog to go to his concert and know songs.
Yeah.
It takes years to know Dave's songs. Because he does what the Grateful does.
Yeah.
And Fish does is every night he plays a different set.
Yeah, and his fans are largely insufferable too.
I stopped going to his concerts. I stopped going to his concerts because of his fans.
Yeah, it's funny, man. A buddy of mine, Brian Orlando, he's the morning DJ on the radio station up in New York, was just talking about their fans and how awful, like they talk through the whole show and like bragging about where they've gone to see him and all this other stuff.
Dude, that's why I stopped going. It's all frat kids.
Yeah.
And now it's getting even worse because now
the frat kids have kids.
the frat kids have kids
Yeah.
and they're listening to it now.
Yeah.
And they think, and God help them if they think that like the same capacity of what the Grateful Dead was. Like, oh, Dave Matthews is. Get
Right.
the fuck out of here.
They're a very good band. I mean, I like that. I think it's cool that they go on the road every summer. You know, it's kind of like a
No,
thing.
it's always they're always on the road. You know.
Yeah.
Remember what they did in Chicago
No.
when they pulled up their bus
No.
outside one of the lakes and he pumped their shit out of their toilet into the lake.
No, I never heard that story.
Yeah, they had
but-
to go and do a free concert and shit.
because they polluted it with all their stuff. So
Yeah.
man, you never empty your black tank in the lake. So
Yeah, they got in real big trouble. For
yeah,
that.
that's a no with like I can't take my camper and just empty my toilet on the ground. That's a no. So yeah, dude. So I think that's it, man. We probably talked about 30 musicians. So we
You think
covered
so?
we covered
Yeah.
we covered a lot of ground. We played a shit ton of music, and this was fun. It was cool to talk about talk about all the different styles of drummers. You know, you got people that you said that just bang on the drums. There's people that stay in the pocket. There's people that 3-piece bands, 2-piece bands, guys playing in really big bands, just literally people in big bands. Benny Goodman. Just it was cool. Learned a lot.
There was a lot of drum. I wish I had more to say, but I let the music do the talking.
Yeah. No, dude, it was good. You were playing the stuff, and then you had some insight being a musician. You could talk about what they're doing.
It's hard for me to explain drums. I don't think I could ever teach anybody.
Well, you did it without sounding like an asshole. Like
Oh,
you're talking
great.
down to anybody.
Did
So
I
it's a
just
low
sound-
bar. You didn't sound like an asshole.
That's
So
what I'm going for.
I think that's most of our iTunes reviews. Just say it doesn't sound like an asshole.
Well,
5
that's what I'm
stars.
kind of going for. in
5
this thing.
stars.
I don't
Yeah.
want to talk bad stuff.
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
you
We're
know,
here to educate,
Listen,
but not.
I could have sat here and talked shit about a lot of these drummers we went through tonight.
Yeah, we could have
but
went back
It's
to-
not about me.
Mick Fleetwood and Chad Smith, and
A lot of
Ginger
them.
Baker.
A
and-
lot
yeah.
of them. A
Yeah.
lot of
No,
them.
you were doing a good job talking about like kind of what makes them different, and putting it in terms that I can't describe because I'm not smart enough.
To be a drummer, let's just say to get down thing. To be a drummer, you kind of have to have athletic.
Sure.
Yes, it takes a little bit of athleticness. To be a drummer, it takes to be very calm. You don't have to be very crazy or calm or anything like that. Be a drummer, you got to practice, and that's all I did growing up.
Yeah, sure.
Playing the drums was my identity. Mm-hmm. That's who I was. I was known for it.
Sure.
I have a lot of things to say about drums, but my show is not about me. It's about
It's all good.
It's all about Bruce and the music.
It's all good. All right, man. I got some music news. So I got 2 pieces of music news. So the first one was Motley Crue mix-up. Did you hear about this with Steel Panther?
Let's hear it.
So a poster on an Amazon Prime video documentary called Rock and Roll Icon Motley Crue. So if you pull that up on Amazon Prime, the image that comes up is actually an image of Steel Panther and not Motley Crue. Amazon, somebody just made a mistake and put the wrong band. And it's funny because there's 2 bands that they don't like each other.
Oh,
And,
God, no.
Steel Panther's been like,
Steel Panther is basically fucking making fun of what those guys
right,
did.
right. So somebody asked the guy Steel Panther if you could bring any celebrity back from the dead, who would it be? And he's like, Vince Neil. I'd bring Vince Neil back. His career died, and and then I think it was Tommy Lee was mouthing off at him. And,
His fucking thing's done. He just played fucking stadium tours.
Yeah.
What's that Steel Panther doing?
It's still up. It's still like the image is still up on Amazon Prime. Like nobody noticed that Steel Panther isn't early 80s Motley Crue. Just
That's
funny.
fine. I have to look for that.
Yeah. And then the other one, man, I'm going to shit on Springsteen, but, Springsteen tickets. So
Yo.
rabid fans of the boss were upset his tickets for his upcoming 2023 tour were going for as much as $5,000. And that's from Ticketmaster, not through scalpers. So Live Nation used a pricing model called dynamic pricing that allows tickets to go up based on how many people are looking for them. Kind of like how like airline tickets or hotel prices do. And he was taking a lot of shit, man. And then for a dude that built his reputation on, he always says the ticket is like it's a contract between him and the audience. And for as much as he hangs his head on, I'm one of the common people, it's a really bad look for him, man. And
he's not looking so blue collar.
No, and his man, John Landau issued a statement and was like, we think the tickets are fair. He's one of the best performers in the history of music.
Yeah, but what
It
kind
came-
of... I can't afford to go to
It
that
came
shit.
out incredibly tone deaf. And also it was a good, like, fuck Ticketmaster. Like, they had that whole, like, you had to be a verified fan to get to be able to get a seat. So you signed up ahead of time.
That sucks, man.
And then they had like a lottery, and you needed the lottery code just to get in the queue to buy a ticket, because he's trying to avoid scalpers.
You'll never... There'll always be scalpers,
Or
dude.
they're trying to avoid like the bots coming in and buying everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I had a code to see him up on Long Island, and I logged in, and I got in the queue, and I had tickets, and I had them in my cart, and I hit checkout, and then like Ticketmaster crapped out.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got back in, the only thing was left, that dynamic pricing had kicked in, and the tickets were like $500 a piece.
Yeah, fuck
for like
that.
on the side of the stage all the way to the top. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm good.
fuck that.
I'm not paying that to see
He'll
him.
be back playing Citizens Bank Ballpark.
Right, I'll go to
and
those.
Everybody will go.
Yeah.
We'll go to a few shows.
Yeah.
We'll go Citizens Bank. We'll go MetLife.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, see him on the outdoor shows. I prefer him in his outdoor arenas anyway.
Yeah.
And it's all good.
I
But
like
it's just-
it indoors. He brings the fucking house down.
Yeah, but I'm not paying all that money to go.
No,
I'm not paying more than I paid to see like the Stones. I think
That's
I'll see 'em.
Stones money, though. Like, I paid a lot of money to see Stones, but like,
Right, but that's the Stones.
that's the Stones.
right.
But to see Springsteen, I would have to have a good seat for me to spend $500.
Right. I'm
on
not
it.
paying behind the stage
Yeah.
or top level.
No, I don't
I'm
have.
just
I'm
not-
good. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm good.
Yep. I've seen him like over 20 times. I'm not paying that kind of money. So it was just it's just a bad look for him, man. It's just
I thought so.
For a dude who has like his image is so like, there's pictures on Spotify, like the Wonder Bar is a little dive bar in Asbury Park across the street from the Stone Pony, and they just had their 20-year anniversary last weekend, and he was in there like having a beer and taking pictures with people, and it's like all week people have been posting like he's at the beach every day in Jersey taking selfies with people, and just he's got that reputation, and then this shit happens.
It's not him per se.
No, well, his
It's
people
his company.
Yeah, and people right.
It's his company doing
Right.
it. He's a brand.
His people signed off on it.
Yeah.
Second thought. So at first is our show passed 10,000 total downloads over the weekend. Woo-hoo. So, and we got a lot of love from the podcast community. So I got a couple, first of all, Pantheon Podcast gave us a shout out, the mothership, Podcast Phantom Jukebox. They just did an episode on, the resurgence of Kate Bush that I listened to with an open mind. I still hasn't changed my mind on Kate Bush, but those guys like us. They've said some nice things about us. Yesterday's concert, our buddy Lance out in Tennessee, he gave us a shout out. The Chicago History Pod, they're a show about the history of Chicago. Our friends over at The Itch, we collaborated with them. We did our Taylor Hawkins tribute with them. They gave us a shout out. The Music List podcast and the Quad Pro Quo podcast. They're a movie podcast. So all those guys all gave us a shout out, saying congratulations on us for passing 10,000 downloads. So I think that's a big deal.
I think it is. This is more of a fun thing for us.
Sure.
It's a hobby.
Sure.
And we have listeners. That's why we keep on doing it.
Yeah, man.
If there's 5 listeners or if there's 5,000 listeners.
Right.
We do it because
Right on, man.
we love to talk rock and roll.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I learned something doing all the work on the show, and it's it's cool just to think that people have listened to what we have to say about music 10,000 times.
Whoever wants to listen to me 10,000 times, or I just feel bad for them. Like,
Right, hey.
Don't you have better taste than us?
God bless them.
You guys got to have something better
Right.
to do than listen to us.
And then I got we got Tom1976 on Twitter said, I listened to your episode on beach songs and then I listened to the playlist on the beach. Great job. You guys didn't talk about yacht rock. That's a staple of summertime. You're right, man. I guess I didn't want to hear,
Fuck yacht rock.
sailing and
Fuck all that
a lot
shit.
of that, Africa by Toto I could listen to.
I guess
a lot of the other stuff, man, like Simply Red and all that other kind of shit. I think the joke of all that kind of stuff, I think it's been a couple of years since that like term started,
Sure.
right? And it's just kind of, I don't know, there's like a yacht rock station on Sirius. It's just, and
Yeah.
largely it's like dentist office music. So,
I'm with you, brother.
and the electric chair, you got something?
Yeah, I kind of think I do.
Do you? Okay, what do you got?
It's summertime. It's really fucking hot. And I just heard the song the other night, and I always hate it. It was Cool Summer by I don't know who fucking
Bananarama?
Bananarama.
Oh, Cruel Summer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting pick. All right, hang on.
Let's kill that
I'll
fucking
put
song.
it on when he's. I'm gonna turn that down. So, yeah, dude, this song doesn't do anything for me. I probably don't even care about it enough to even want to put it in the electric chair.
But it's summertime.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I just hate it.
Bananarama is kind of a stupid name. I'm looking them up. They're still kind of attractive looking. Either I'm looking at pictures from like the 80s. Yeah, it might be. But whatever. I couldn't name 2 songs by Bananarama. I don't think. But, yeah, it's largely okay.
Let's kill it.
All right, yeah, I'm just like fucking saying
We
shit to try to...
sentence you to death.
Banana hammock.
Banana Hammock. That was a good pick.
Bananarama hammock.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get fucking Bananarama off my... Anybody who follows me on Spotify probably shows up in like that feed, which you're like, where the fuck is you listening to Bananarama? Yeah, I think my daughter listens to me, follows me on Spotify. She's like, what the hell? Anyway, so that's a wrap on episode 45. If you like what you hear, follow us on your favorite podcast platform and tell somebody about us. You can also check us out on social media or at prisonersofrockandroll.com. There's links to our website and our email address and our social media accounts in the show notes. And you can also go to the show notes for a link to our episode playlist. You know, we only play 30-second clips on the show because lawyers, but we do put together a playlist for every episode. You can go there and check out all this cool music that we talked about today. There's a lot there, man. As we covered a lot of ground today, as we tend to do. And that's a wrap, man. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. So thanks for listening. Keep on rocking. Peace out.
I'm just a prisoner.